If you are condo hunting in Bangkok, here are 7 things that you must check before you sign that lease. So of course, condo hunting in Bangkok it's a dream. We have so many high rises, so many different kinds of buildings, so many different feels of neighborhoods, and it can be a very, very exciting time. But don't get lost in the sauce, because there are some things that it's imperative that you consider in ways that you may not have needed to consider back home. So first things first, let's get this one out the way. If you smell something, say something. And this is something that not just us, like we weren't the only ones that experienced this, but when we first walked into this condo specifically, I remember being like, we both said something. We were like, what's that smell? And so our agent told us that essentially this space had been vacant for some time. And when condos are vacant here in Thailand, apparently, allegedly, there tends to be this smell that consumes the entire space. And so we took that at face value. We were like, okay, makes sense. Like, hopefully this is something that he, opened the windows and he was like, you just need to air out the space. Granted, I don't fault him, because he was sharing with us what he knew based off of what the owner's agent shared. But nonetheless, the issue was way bigger than the condo being vacant for some time. And this was not a situation that was specific to us. We also had several friends who mentioned the same thing, that their agent had shared, that it just happens like when the space is vacant for some time. But all of us who initially were like, ooh, that's an interesting smell we got going on, and you'll smell it from the bathrooms or the sinks. So just know, proceed with caution if you do end up catching a smell whenever you're in the condo, and know that you may be signing yourself up for a couple weeks of troubleshooting and technicians coming in and out trying to fix the problem. So buyer beware, you've been warned. It's apparently pretty common out here, especially in many of the newer condos. So just be mindful as you are going through your condo hunting process. Now, the second big thing is the orientation of your condo. So Bangkok, for those who don't know, is a very, very hot city. The sun here feels like it is 10 times more intense than than it was living in Raleigh. And with that, you have many of these newer condos that have floor to ceiling windows. I'm getting somewhere with this. When you mix very intense sun with floor to ceiling windows, you get a very warm space. And granted, I originally wanted an east facing unit because I love the mornings to be filled with sunshine, and just getting to see the sunrise, like the hues of the sunrise in the morning, is like such a treat to me. When we're on vacation, I am always one of the first ones up, ready to be at the beach watching the sunrise, and that's just like, that fills my cup in the morning. And so our condo is southeast facing, and it's the perfect combination. So be mindful, literally just pull out your compass app, and when you're in the space that you're touring, just see like wherever your floor to ceiling windows are, just confirm that it is not west facing, because as beautiful as the sunset may be with a west facing unit, you are essentially dealing with a much hotter space. So when we went and toured some places that we really liked, but they were west facing, it literally felt like we had walked into a sauna. And not only is that uncomfortable to walk into coming home from work, but it's also, or coming home from wherever, but it also will mean that your electricity bill will be higher because your AC is working harder to keep the space cool. So just be mindful of that. Every single west facing unit that we experienced was like, walked in and it was like whew, night and day, compared to like, even if we had gone to buildings where we were viewing multiple units in one building, and like the west facing ones, it was always 10 times hotter. Number 3 is to make sure that you are visiting the unit that you're considering multiple times, especially if you smell something real funky the first time around. So for us, we visited this condo 3 times. The first time we came here, it was around like 2 p.m. And so we were really able to feel the differences between the units that were east versus west facing. And then the second time we came, it was like 8 in the morning before I had to go to work. And then we also walked by in the evening time when it was dark. And that was really both to get a sense of what the neighborhood felt like during nighttime. There were some locations where as soon as it got dark and we were walking through, that neighborhood, pure rats and cockroaches, like multiple, like they're playing over here playing patty cake in the gutter. And we didn't even have to consider those condos over there because it was like absolutely not. So visiting multiple times a day will not only give you a feel of, temperate, like from a temperature standpoint, like how things feel, but also if there's a smell the first time around, making sure to come in again and be mindful if you smell it the second time around, especially if the place had been aired out when you originally toured the unit. The thing is, like, the agents work for you, but they get paid by the owner. And so ideally the agent wants to help the owner, sell or rent out their place. So if it means, they have to come back 3 times with you, then so be it. But it remembered that they work for you at the end of the day, and you need to feel confident and comfortable with whatever selection that you make. Number 4 is to go in with your list of non-negotiables. So we had a whole spreadsheet of our non-negotiables and our nice to haves. Obviously, one of our non-negotiables was a 2-bed, 2-bath. We knew that, especially after living in a hotel, so we had a temporary corporate housing situation for the first month, and with that 1-bed, 1-bath situation, that was not going to work. So we knew for a fact that we wanted that. We originally thought that we needed 100 square meters or more. Maybe that is still true, but the places that we got to tour where it was 100 square meters or more within the price range that we were looking at, those were much older buildings, and we just had to, that was one of the things that ended up getting sacrificed or compromised in a way. So there will be compromises in this search. Another non-negotiable for us was having a place that was already well decorated so that we wouldn't have to buy, any additional furniture or decor. And so this space here, Darien's guitar is right here, but besides that, like everything else you see in the background was already here. So that's another thing, is like, know that whatever you see is likely what you get. And we did ask for the owner to remove a few things just because it did feel a bit cluttered, but that's not going to be the case for like any and every landlord. Number 5 is to be for real about the amenities that you're actually going to use. So one of the big selling points for many of the condos out here is, the rooftop pool and the gyms and the movie theaters, and I don't know, some places I've seen game rooms, but you have to be honest with yourself if you're actually going to be using those selling points. Sometimes you're paying extra for these amenities that you may not actually use, so just be mindful of that and allow that to be part of your decision-making matrix, if you will, especially if you're narrowing things down between like your top 2 or 3 units. Number 6 is it's important for you to consider your commute and whether or not the place that you're looking for will allow for the most efficient commuting experience. So for me, I know that I could either do Grab on the bike, car, and then I also have access to the train. And this was intentional, especially with rainy season, where yesterday, for example, I was able to just take the MRT from my hair appointment to my condo because I literally live like super close to the MRT line. And that was something that I wanted to ensure so that like if it was raining, I wouldn't have to sit in traffic in the car, and I also wouldn't have to pay 200, 300 baht just to get home 2 kilometers. So that was a big reason behind like why we chose the neighborhood that we're in and the proximity to the train. And the last thing to consider is safety. So our unit has 24/7 security. It also has 24/7 CCTV, and there is a doorman that essentially, at this point, I'm like, y'all know us by Condo. It was cute. Yesterday when I got back from doing my hair, he was like, so they've seen me through multiple hair iterations over the past few months now, and they're gonna keep getting that energy, but you almost become buddy with them because you see them every single day. But that was one thing for us, being in a new city, being across the world. We wanted to ensure that we had a high level of security with the condo that we selected. So I know some places have, the face scan where you can only get in the building with whatever technology they use, scanning your face. For us, it's key cards, and so you can't get into the building, or you can't go up the elevator unless you have a key card, and your key card only takes you to your floor. So those are the 7 things that I highly recommend that you consider. Most important ones I would say are definitely orientation, the smell, and safety. So if you do have a chance to speak with anyone who's in the lobby, or chilling by the pool, or I don't know, on the elevator, like anyone who's currently living at that condo, just ask like, hey, have you been enjoying your experience? Anything I should be worried about? I'm considering, leasing here. And most people are pretty open and willing to share. So yes, happy condo hunting if this is the era that you are in, and it's an exciting time. Have fun. Do not feel pressured to lock something in. There's plenty of inventory on the market. And if you have any specific questions from our lived experience, feel free to put it in the comments and we'll get back to you. But otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.